I'm Dan Ackerman, and we are here taking a look at the Acer Aspire S3. That is one of the very first laptops to be called an Ultrabook. Now, an Ultrabook is a category kind of invented by Intel as a way to pitch the idea of a laptop that's very thin but still reasonably powerful and with really good battery life. And if that sounds kind of familiar, well, it's kind of like a MacBook Air. And the whole Ultrabook concept is, let's sort of make a MacBook Air, but for Windows users. And they've had some laptops here and there like that for a while, not too many. Now with this big Ultrabook push, you're going to see a lot of them. We've seen them from Lenovo, from Asus, here from Acer and Toshiba. This Acer Aspire S3 is the first one that we've gotten in for testing. And it's actually pretty impressive compared to some of the other Ultrabooks that are coming out, which cost about the same as a MacBook Air, $1,100 or $1,200 or more. The Acer version is a much more reasonable $899, and for that you get a Core i5 CPU, a pretty standard 1366 by 768 display. Ultrabooks are supposed to have solid-state hard drives. They did cut a few corners in that respect on this model. It does have a 20 gig SSD that's paired with a regular hard drive in kind of a hybrid model, so you use it for fast booting up and resuming from sleep, but you also have a regular platter hard drive in there as well. And you also miss out on some other high-end options you might expect from a super fancy laptop, like let's say a USB 3.0 port. This is a very slim, very light, very nice looking laptop, especially for under $1,000. It kind of feels a little bit like a MacBook Air on a bit of a budget. It has a very MacBook-like large ClickPad touchpad, so the left and right mouse buttons are just the corners of this big pad instead of separate buttons. And surprisingly, it has some of the best multi-touch two-finger scrolling that we've ever seen on a Windows laptop. There's not a lot of room for ports and connections, and the battery life at about 4 hours on our test is not as good as a MacBook Air, which will get you about 2 hours and change more than that. But for the first generation of Ultrabooks and coming in at a very reasonable price compared to some of the more expensive ones, we think there's a lot to like about this new model. I'm Dan Ackerman, and that is the Acer Aspire S3.